Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 for Thursday, December 12th of 2024.
Y'all, Christmas is coming right around the corner, and that means MrMaple gift cards are on our website. They go directly to your email. You can check out fast. And guys, the trees we're talking about today, we're talking about 10 of the 20 trees that go on our website at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the other secret 10, sign up for a weekly email on MrMaple.
I'm Matt, that's my brother Tim. Let's get right into it, guys. We're doing the big boys first. We've got some giant 2-gallon Buchholz grown Mannion sato. These things are premium. They're a phenomenal looking plant. They're good sized twos. Start out with something a little bit bigger on Mannion sato. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, Mannion sato is one of these trees that in the early spring gives you a red on lime green color, then going to a green on lime green. The variegation is just amazing. Fall color on this are bright oranges. So
check out the highlight Tim recently did where he stands in front of a mature, older Mannion sato there at Buchholz Nursery. You can kind of see a little bit of that fall color start. It didn't quite peak yet, but get some great yellows and oranges in that thing.
It has a unique margin variegation that's different on every leaf. Each leaf twists and turns differently. So it's a photographer's delight to go out there and photograph this tree because every leaf and every single photo is going to turn out differently.
Typically around 6 foot in 10 years. I find that as these mature, they do round out a good bit on the canopy. So get a little lower, a little wider, which is a great thing for this one not being super big. Late day shaded, your hotter zones, these are going to work zones 5 through 9. Exceptionally heat tolerant and durable for a variegated plant. I think you're going to really become just entranced and fall in love with the style of variegation. That color on this is phenomenal. I often bring it up with this one in Benny Sheehan, but it just sounds like Jimi Hendrix music to me. Like it looks like it represents what Jimi Hendrix music sounds like. It's got that just raw, cool look to it. The variegation is phenomenal and just a cool plant in general.
Yeah, this is an awesome tree. Some great sizes now in these 2 gallons. Make sure you check out quickly.
Drop you some Jimi Hendrix and stare at your Mannion sato this spring. Woo, talk about a great pairing. We've got some phenomenal sizes in Irene. These will look amazing with those Mannion satos. This is a dwarf sport found on Summer Gold, y'all. So this is a variegated Summer Gold, also just next level, unique. More almost like lacier looking than Summer Gold. You get that kind of ruffled border to it. Such a next level plant. Perfect pairing with the Mannion sato. I do find these to be a little bit more narrow as they grow though.
Now, this gives you that yellow color in the landscape all throughout the summer. My favorite time though is in the early spring where that ruffled border can be almost an red or orange red. And that contrasts so well against the yellow color of the foliage. The leaves are just outstanding. This is a unique, variegated yellow Japanese maple. And once this tree is established in the landscape, it's proven to be fairly heat tolerant, almost as heat tolerant as Summer Gold itself. Y'all, this is another next level variegated plant. Like you mentioned, excellent pairing with that Mannion sato.
I love the ruffled leaf. It's so cool looking. It really is just one of those phenomenal plants. It's like a dream plant. It's like something you made up. I absolutely love it. Great for the container garden. Fun to pair with many of the reticulated purples and darker colors. If you love Summer Gold, it's like taking Summer Gold and just turning it up another notch. Like it's phenomenal. And Irene, just so spectacular. Fall colors, typically that fiery, bold red you see on Summer Gold, often with a pink border to it. So again, next level there. And I love how just delicate this tree looks, but it's super durable. That ruffled leaf just kind of gives it something extra. Makes every little leaf kind of have its own individuality to it.
And this was a tree that was sort of group introduced by one of our friends, Dick Vandermatt, and some of his friends in Europe. Dick introduced so many amazing selections into the nursery trade. Anna Marine is one of those ones with him that he helped introduce that is simply amazing.
You know what else would pair nice with Anna Irene? Acer palmatum Pixie.
It sure would. And we've got some nice 2 gallons here for you today. Pixie's one of those tightly layering, compact, upright red Japanese maples.
Guys, I love this one. It's heat tolerant, it's durable, it's got a fun large leaf to it. The color in the spring can almost be neon pink. Like you can get some weird pink shades, especially over dark maroons on the new growth. Just so colorful. Pixie, such a next level plant. Another one that's great for that container garden.
Yeah, this is one of those red uprights that gives you those killer colors you're talking about, and it's one you're gonna love in the springtime. But the habit on this is what makes this so unique and special. That denser compact habit makes this a very popular tree in the landscape. I know Richard Bomar has a beautiful one down in Simpsonville, South Carolina. And this is one of those trees that he made us fall in love with too, just seeing his big mature specimen out there in the garden. Because when you see a specimen of this with that layering habit, it just looks almost macabre-like in the garden. And the next level colors make it awesome.
I disagree completely. The colors are what make it so special. And no one makes me fall in love with a maple but myself.
Y'all, grab you a Pixie today. We got some great size 2 gallons. And y'all, these are gonna sell quickly.
Next up, we got Acer Palmatum Dragon Farts.
Say what? Next up, we've got Acer Palmatum Dragon's Fire. That's on a roll today, ain't he? This is a cascading ornatum-like Japanese maple with amazing fall colors that remind you of a dragon's fire. Just that bright yellows, oranges, and reds.
Reminds you of a dragon's fart. You wanted to say it so bad. Awesome compact plant. I love that this one has a yellow eye to it in the middle of it, guys. Phenomenal spring color. Probably my favorite of the ornatum styles in the spring. Absolutely phenomenal. Green bark on this one as well, which really accentuates that dark, kind of orangey red foliage in the spring.
Yeah, it's one of those next level Japanese maples with great fall color. It's not your red, it's not your green. It gives you those mauve reds in the early spring, those mauve reds during the summer, and then when the fall hits, that's when you know this tree is this next level. Dragon's
Fire, phenomenal plant, guys. Looks like dragon's breath there, just emerging.
All right, that's enough of that one.
All right, guys, next up, we've got Acer Palmatum Kiyohime.
Kiyohime has this low, flat, horizontal-like shape to it in the early spring. It's one of those toadstool Japanese maples, and the shape on this just adds a unique texture in the landscape.
Bright purple border to this one in the early spring. Phenomenal plant, guys. This one is often used in bonsai for that dense, compact habit. Absolute perfect plant to top a patio planter. You can put this out there. It's everything you need in a big planter. Great plant for below window sills, too, because it's something that won't get too tall, but it'll give you some width. Absolutely beautiful plant. Excellent on the heat tolerance as well. These are going to do well in full sun, even up to zone 8. These are going to work zones 5 through 9. Typically no more than about 3 feet, maybe even 4 feet in a 10-year period, but you can get 5 to 6 feet wide, getting these kind of low and spreading.
What about that massive specimen we saw at Maple Walk?
Amazing plant. One of the biggest ones I've ever seen. You'll have to go back and check out Tom's top 5 maples to see where that one lists on his favorite maples in his garden.
And I did a walkthrough with Tom through Maple Walk, and you'll have to see that when it comes out. Make sure you hit that when that airs. Watch that video because his garden is beautiful, and there's some next level big specimens, huge specimens of Japanese maples. We've been growing Japanese maples for a while in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You can watch Mr. Maple do a walkthrough through Maple Walk.
That's a lot of maple.
That's a lot of maples.
And walking.
Guys, grab you a Kiyohime today. Absolutely phenomenal plant. These will be on Mr. Maple starting at 10 a.m. All right, guys, next up we got Fraxinus Excelsior Crispa. Now, maybe of you remember, but Excelsior was, every 90s kid should know this. That was Stan Lee's catchphrase back in the day. So Stan Lee, Excelsior, he yelled that all the time. You don't really mean anything. I think he made the word up himself, honestly.
And you like the subspecies here because it just says Excelsior.
Yeah, Excelsior.
Y'all, Crispa, this is a ash tree that has a compact habit like a Shishigashira, but a much slower growing form. It's one of the slowest growing ash trees that's out there. Y'all, you're gonna love this ash in your garden.
Yeah, I was just planting one of these the other day, and my wife was out there, and she said, that's a nice ash. I really appreciate that. Beautiful plant, guys, compact, dense. Again, it reminds you of Shishigashira in the garden. It's just a nice ash tree.
It really is. The compact form, the crinkled leaves, the dark leaves that are just like that emerald green, the same color as Shishigashira, provide a good contrast out there. This is one of those extremely rare plants that you don't find many places.
Slow growing.
Yeah, I've seen 1 gallons of this going for $75 to $100 before. I think our very first one, I bought a 1 gallon and it was probably $100 or $125. And I was like, this is the next level tree we got to be producing here at Mr. Maple. Y'all, you're going to love Crispa. Makes a statement. And it's one of those cool trees not many other people have.
Grab you one today on Mr. Maple. All right, guys, next up we have a tree that pays homage to the late, great, one of horticulture's just absolute heroes. I mean, I know he's on the Mount Rushmore of gardening for us and horticulture. One named for Don Shadow, Shadow Selection. Now, this one was planted outside of Don's garden, or Don's offices there at Shadow Nursery, and everybody loved it. I know Brian Upchurch and many people were like, we've got to do something with this one. And Don said, oh, that's an older one I got from Sir Harold Hillier, another plant legend. I've actually been to Sir Harold Hillier Gardens. That's how far Don's knowledge goes back in his time. And really cool, phenomenal yellow fall color, upright.
Yeah, in the early spring, you can get some sort of purple kind of hues across the green leaf. And then those yellow fall colors are simply outstanding. This is a beautiful Aminum style Japanese maple for the landscape and garden. It's pretty rare in the nursery trade. Sometimes it's been sold as Shadow Selection by Hillier, because Sir Harold Hillier, who had Hillier gardens. He actually gave the selection to Don Shadow.
He did some cool stuff. Like during World War II, he would literally put plants on like conveyor belts and come out and cover runways in England.
Yeah, they're like on rollers and boxes and conveyor belts, and he just slide them all out over there, cover the runway so that enemies couldn't see the runways from flying above. And this was a tree he thought was really cool and gave to Don Shadow.
Don, just an absolute legend too. Always somebody that was always willing to share cool plants with us. That's how a lot of our cool plants get here, is through guys like Don Shadow. Shadow Selection, though, a little homage to him. It's kind of bittersweet now Don recently passed, but just thinking of him and his family, such a cool guy, and we learned so many great things from him. Great way to memorialize him with a Shadow Selection.
Yeah, beautiful tree. You're definitely going to love it. Check this one out on MrMaple.com. Y'all, next up, we've got Easter Palmatum Seiryu, the blue-green dragons. This is one of the quickest growing Japanese maples and one of the only lace leaf Japanese maples that has that upright form.
Beautiful plant, guys. Lush green in the spring. If you're giving it more sunlight, it's going to be a neon lime green. If you're giving it more shade, this one's going to be more of an emerald green, where it gets that blue-green name. Phenomenal dark red to bold red fall colors. It's one we've seen used at temples in Japan for its graceful habit. Seiryu is one of the very fastest growing Japanese maples, typically over 1 foot to 1.5 foot of growth a year. So it gets out there, it makes a prominent tree in the landscape very quickly. It's very heat tolerant as well, so this one's often used as a mid-story tree, even high pine canopies like it was at the Birmingham Botanical Garden, to provide shade for much of the Azalea collection. It's durable, fast, and it gets out there quickly.
Yeah, whenever you visit a garden, often one of the more regal specimens in the garden is the Seiryu. And that's because it gets out there very quickly. It may not be as old as some of the other Japanese maples, but it makes a statement in the garden fast. And that's what many people are looking for. And if you're looking for that in a high heat setting, this is one of the most heat tolerant Japanese maples that's out there. It's beautiful, that graceful habit, that graceful leaves. It really is a next level Japanese maple. Selection by Wada Nursery from the 1970s, was given to the National Arboretum in 1970, introduced to the United States. And I'm telling you, this is a tree, if you don't have it, it's a classic. It's quickly a classic. I mean, that's only 50 years in the nursery trade. But this tree is just one that everybody loves.
Fast growing, guys, zones 5 through 9. Gets out there, underrated for fall color. I mean, brilliant reds on this one in the fall. Some massive specimens of this out there now. And it's one of those good plants, too, to shade out the rest of your collection. We talk about that a lot, but this one really provides some protection, especially for new maple collectors. You've got several trees in your garden, you're trying to place them, so you can help provide some quick shade. All right, guys, we've got the infamous Blackbeard's Gold.
Yeah, Blackbeard's Gold is a selection that my dad actually planted out in the 1970s. And it's this beautiful red Japanese maple that everyone fell in love with, because in the fall, it gives you some really nice splashes of yellows infused with oranges in the fall. Next level on its fall color for being a red Matsumuri, a vigorous grower as well. And we gave it the name Blackbeard's Gold because Blackbeard, he was from Bath, North Carolina. He often frequented the North Carolina coast, so he's got that North Carolina connection. And you get that gold fall color. Look no further than Blackbeard's Gold. One
of the darkest Japanese maples in early spring. It's almost a black-red, deep burgundy, going to a golden yellow in the fall. You know, this was one of the first trees we ever put a name on. This and Jade Dragon were definitely the first two introductions to ever come out of Nichols Nursery, MrMaple. This was a tree that everybody kept asking us for. So people would tour the nursery and they would say, I want that tree. And we'd be like, oh, that's just a seedling my dad planted. Well, years and years of this go by and Tim go, why aren't we grafting this tree? Everybody's begging for this tree. It's beautiful. It goes from such a dark red to such a phenomenal golden yellow. Blackbeard's Gold kind of just encapsulated a little bit of what we were looking at in that tree and gave it a fun name. Absolutely a cool plant. This is one we sell out of quickly when we drop it on MrMaple. Buckholt's grown, Blackbeard's Gold. Durable, fast growing, great fall color, great dark reds. If you're looking for a dark Japanese maple, this one's a great one to kind of add some of those bold, almost black colors.
Y'all, get you one of these. You're going to love it. Everyone always does. Blackbeard's Gold, going to sell it quickly today. Our website doesn't hold it for you to complete that checkout process.
All right, last up, Tim, what do we got here today?
We got some Shirazz.
Nice. This is a phenomenal tree, introduced from New Zealand. Very similar to Geisha Gone Wild. We do offer both from time to time. This is another variegated sport found off Geisha. From the other side of the world, from Geisha Gone Wild. Phenomenal plant, named for the wine, the Shirazz, if you want to say a little more fancy.
The colors are slightly different. This one, they both are very heat tolerant, very vigorous and upright. To me, Shirazz is a really cool red on variegated Japanese maple that's just fun to put out there because it gives you a lot of that pink-red color out there in the landscape.
Absolutely phenomenal. Actually, tends to be very heat tolerant too for a pink. We find this one to do pretty well in a good bit of sun down here in the south. We've had this one in full sun in zone 6B with zero problems. Does green up a little bit. One of my favorite color patterns on this is when it's the pink on green though. I think that's really cool right when summer's starting to happen. Phenomenal plant though, very durable. Grab you a Shirazz today.
Now guys, that was 10 of the 20 trees. The other 10's in that secret email. You can sign up for it on MrMaple.com. All these trees list at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're new to the channel, check us out on MrMaple.com.
We appreciate you tuning in today, guys. Take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.